what's going on because the weather is hot outside.
Yeah, I don't know how hot it is outside. I didn't look at the thermometer, but it feels like it's like over 90 degrees.
It's a hot, steamy Jersey. Well, it's not even summer
Still
yet.
May. It's still May.
Still May.
May,
Wow, it's
May
amazing.
31st.
All right, let's do a little countdown here. You ready, pal?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Bones, you ready back there? Where are you?
We
Back
need
there?
bones. We need bones.
Bones. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh my gosh. Hey, welcome back, friends. It's the last day of May 2022. Now, when you watch this a month from now, you'll say, that's an old video. Thank you for coming back again to the Jersey Alchemist. We're here for you. We're here to elevate, to educate, and entertain. Absolutely. And I'm your host, Dr. John Gerard Gallucci.
Do you know how professional you just sounded?
Really?
I can't help but be impressed.
Well, maybe I get the secret wish that I'd love to be a radio talk show host.
You've got the voice for it, brother. And I'm Philip D'Angelo.
There you go.
Me, I only have a face for radio. That's what they say. I'm not sure what that means.
Like a Henny Youngman joke.
Yeah. Henny freaking Youngman. Wow. What's going on today, pal?
Well, I am certainly not an expert in this next topic.
Oh boy.
But you know, I am a big, huge fan of YouTube. Even though, Bones, they're the platform that torpedoed us. They're the people you wanted to mount a counterattack against. And I can't argue with that, except we can't do that because we still need the platform. I know you agree. Yeah. Anyway, I spend a lot of my free time, and I have a good amount of free time at night, scrolling through YouTube on my Roku TV. And I learn a lot. I learn a lot on YouTube, but I also learn a lot on Rumble, and I go here, and I go here, and I go other places. I don't want to hear your politics. Stuff it up your asses. Ha! I don't want to hear politics about Rumble or this or that, okay? It's a point or a place or a venue where you can learn what you don't already know. For the people who think they know everything, knock it off.
John, the more opinions and the more, it doesn't mean you have to agree with anything,
right?
But the more opinions you hear, the more that you're going to expand your thought process and say, well, that might not be correct, but it is interesting. Maybe there is something to that. Let me grab some more information or look deeper.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, how did I start the day today, on the internet? Well, I picked up my phone and I saw that I had a couple of Twitter hits. And I don't like Twitter. I don't like Twitter. When I am on Twitter, not when I'm interacting with Twitter friends, which I don't have a lot of, but I'm there, right? It's by and large the rest of the ocean of whether they're mostly Twitter bots or Biden bots or Brandon bots or whoever they are. I have never experienced the hatred and the vitriol from people that I read their threads on Twitter, and it gets me nauseated. And there's only one explanation. There's only one explanation for how a mass of people, however large or not that mass may be in reality, there's only one explanation. This is spiritual warfare. And if you reach to turn off this channel because of what I just said, you're stupid. You're a fool. It's a fanatical, religious hatred. Has anybody ever, look, I have to admit that I can't stand Hillary Clinton. And there's a lot of other politicians I can't stand. And for anybody that's near center or to the left, you're probably not watching us anyway. I wish you would. But I would tell you right now, who do I put on the same platform of filth and disgust with Hillary Clinton? I put Senior Bush, Junior Bush, Dick Cheney, and Donald Rumsfeld up there with all of them. And they're not the only ones. I can see past the politics. I can see past left versus right. I can. I absolutely can. But I just, Twitter makes me want to vomit because when I was fomenting hatred for Hillary Clinton and who the F does she think she is? And she's such, I could see right through her, right through her. But my negative feelings for Hillary Clinton pale compared to what the left has for Donald Trump. And I still don't understand exactly what Donald Trump did to generate that kind of grassroots, massive hatred
John,
from the left.
don't you understand that his father back in 1962 wouldn't rent to a poor black family? Don't you understand? That's what started it all.
Well,
You know, we don't even know if those stories are true or untrue.
Yeah.
You know, but look what the man's done. His policies speak for forever. I mean,
well, you know, for some they do,
Yeah.
for some they do, but just opening up the pipeline with oil to alleviate our dependency, I guess, on foreign countries, immediately gives the left a big, horrible, painful, bleeding, fucking hemorrhoid. It's like, well, okay, the world is in transition right now, and this is where this conversation is actually going, the transition that we're going into. But for now, we've got, you know, I don't know how many cars on the American road alone, never mind Mexico and Canada. You know, the Europeans are a different story. They drive around in Matchbox cars, God bless them, or bicycles. They're probably in better shape than Americans are, that's for sure. But for now, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to just, you know, leave your fossil fuel vehicle on the side of the LIE, Long Island Expressway? You're going to just leave it, abandon your car there? I mean, come on. You know, we got to get out of the whole fossil fuel thing eventually, and the right way, okay? But this is still about a religious, fucking fanatical hatred for a man that at least half the country was supporting.
yes.
Right? And for everything that Hillary Rodham Clinton did, including what a lot of us knew from the get-go, that the whole Russian collusion thing was a crock of shit and that she had to be behind it, I could never have imagined that she was directly behind it. She directly gave issues and orders, and it's all now
and
ferreted out, and money.
And
It's
money.
all caught on the emails. God bless John Durham. And by the way, any scumbag Republican that gets caught up in his net, so be it.
Oh, there's
a
few.
Sure.
There's a few.
So be it. So where is this going? Where are we going with this, right? We're going to a place where the left versus the right is no longer going to exist. We're going to a place where wars no longer exist. We're going to a place where the central bankers, a la the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, and yes, my friends that are Rothschild supporters, they have levied an evil debt slavery construct upon humanity for at least 1,000 years. And guess what? We're in that age now. We're in the messianic age. We're in an astrologic cusp age. We're cusping from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius. Yeah, we really are. And guess what's coming along with that change? Gold-backed and silver-backed, precious metal-backed currencies, even if they turn out to be blockchain technology currencies. So there are people who jumped in early with Bitcoin and Ethereum and Litecoin, and I was one of them that jumped in not as early as I would like to have. And I had my day in the sun with that, and yes, I did benefit from it, and thank God for that. But everything happens for a reason. So I'm flipping through YouTube today, back to the original thought, and out of nowhere, I see this rabbi. I don't typically look for what a rabbi is going to say on YouTube, unless, of course, we talked about titles before. The title is catchy, and you can consider the title clickbait, but it's not always functioning as clickbait. It just functions to kind of get a guy like me who's profoundly spiritual to say, hey, let me see what the rabbi has to say. I don't dismiss rabbis or imams or Buddhists. No. I love that stuff. I do. Anyway, here's this rabbi, and I'm gonna tell you who he is. His handle on YouTube is the Kabbalah Guru. Yeah, the Kabbalah Guru. And the topic was all about NESARA, GESARA. NESARA is NESARA /GESARA. And the first one, NESARA, stands for the National Economic Security and Reformation Act. And the GESARA with the G is the Global Economic Security and Reformation Act. What's that all about? Now, I have a friend of mine that tried to convince me about 7 years ago that, and this was over a social media platform, tried to convince me. He was talking about the White Dragon Society, the Indo-Asian or Indo-Chinese hierarchy. These were white hat people that were appointed to keep their eye on the world's stores of gold, because every faction on the planet sees gold as the ultimate exchange modality, if you will. And even if you believe off-worlders exist, somebody was mining gold and silver in the area of South Africa a long time ago, like 25,000 years ago. Apparently there's 75,000 precious metals mines strewn here and there and everywhere in these vast areas of South Africa that are off limits to the people, and they're about 25,000 years old. So if that's the case, who the hell was mining silver and gold, or platinum and silver and gold 25,000 years ago to the tune of 75,000 mines?
John, was there gold involved with pyramids, inside the pyramids? I think,
yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I think there was some gold. Well, so just think about how far back that goes.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I got to tell you what, I'm going to take a poke. I'm going to take a poke at one of the sacred calves of. I'm not trying to make any enemies here, but when I hear someone like Lynn Wood apparently is an attorney. He was all involved with the whole 2020 election thing, and apparently he's a devout Christian. God bless him. But I heard him doing a radio talk show once, and he started by saying, "Folks, let me say, the world is 7,000 years old." Oy, 7,000 years old. Record scratch. Wrong. The world is not 7,000 years old. I promise you it's not. Atlantis was around 30,000 years ago, maybe 50,000 years ago. And the ruins of such an empire are here, there, and everywhere. Lemuria, which was on the island, I think, of Hawaii, or Oahu, I'm not sure, but it was in the Hawaiian island chain. That was so many tens of thousands of years ago.
There's so much scientific proof to disclaim what that statement he just made. I mean, how is that possible? He's a little off the beaten path. That guy.
So you know who he is.
I
heard them, a couple of truthers on YouTube, really battling it out about whether he was just a bumbling fool, or he was a charlatan, or this, or is he sincere, and is he being used? But when somebody puts across on a live broadcast that the world is 7,000 years old, that's it. Homie's done. Homie's done. Linwood, you lost me on that one. And if you're so wrong about such a big, big item, what else are you wrong about? Now, I don't pretend to be right about everything. I am spiritually connected. I'm appointed to have a role in this earthly, humanly change. Guess what? We all are. I'm not special. I just seem to recognize why the fuck I'm here. How's that? And I can dress it up with a little English, with a few F-bombs here and there. So, back to NESARA GESARA. The central banking system, which came by way of the deep state, the dark side, the cabal, they have been making us debt slaves for 1,000 years. I'll say 1,000 years at the risk of sounding like Linwood. Maybe it's really 7,000 years that the same energy, the same dark souls have been controlling this planet. Maybe it's 10,000 years. I don't know. All I know is my forefathers were all debt slaves just like the rest of you. And talk about slavery? It doesn't matter who may have owned the slave ships. It doesn't matter that African indigenous people may have sold other African indigenous people to the slave traders to put them on those ships and sail them to South America, Central America, North America. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is it's all part of the same dark energy. War is part of the same dark energy. Debt is a killer. Debt gets people, debt is the great leverage point that gives evil its foothold. And, you know, there's that whole story, and there's a lot of YouTube videos and a book called Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Have you ever been, oh my God, I can't remember the guy's name, but he stays contemporary on YouTube. And he does this tell-all about how the United States would target a country, and they would, he was one of the people, he was the economic hitman. They would go in and they would convince those leaders, and the leaders always had a proclivity and a capacity to kind of have their hands out. And they were probably always crossing over to the dark side just to get to where they were. But the economic hit people from the United States, led by this particular guy, would sell a big, huge scheme to the national leaders. And the only people that benefited from it were the American factions that were concocting it and those foreign leaders that were being paid off. The rest of his or her people got screwed. They were turned into the ultimate debt slaves because maybe the project cost $50 billion. I'm just pulling that number out of the air. And that's a number that all of the upper echelon concocting this deal knew that country could not pay back. Could not. So when they default on the loan years down the road, guess what happens? Provisions in the original documentation and contracts as well. Well, you know what? We did rebuild your seaport, or you had no seaport, and we built a beautiful state-of-the-art seaport. Well, guess what? You know, from time to time, you know, some of our naval vessels are going to come up and, you know, refill with gas. And oh, by the way, now that that's been happening for 3 years, yeah, maybe we need a place for our soldiers. So we're going to build a base over here. So all of a sudden, in a hegemonic move, all of a sudden, these countries are falling one by one by one. And they're all succumbing to the Rothschild central banking system. The countries that were outside of the Rothschild central banking system have been systematically attacked, their leaders murdered, and guess what? Now they're part of the central banking system. Except there's one guy that the mainstream media is vilifying. We're not going to say his name because we'll be torpedoed, but his last name begins with a P. And right now, his factions are in a country that begins with the letter U.
Hmm.
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 And he's not part of, and never was part of, the central banking system. No, no. As a matter of fact, their currency apparently is backed by gold and silver. So, NESARA GESARA, wait for it, people. You think it's a crock of shit. Listen, if NESARA GESARA is a crock of shit, then as far as I'm concerned, it's over. Finito. That's it. There's almost like no hope unless the Messiah comes back riding on a cloud, to right the wrongs of the world and to slay the beast, with or without Archangel Michael. So NESARA GESARA is going to be tied into what is now a Jubilee year. And you've all heard of Jubilee. Oh, it's a Jubilee, blah, blah, blah. And we always had it in our heads that, a Jubilee was kind of a celebration. But to the ancient Hebrews, it had something to do with 7 times 7. So, 7 years would go by, times 7, and it brought it to the 49th year, which then segued to the 50th year, which was a Jubilee year, which bespelled a reset, a big, big, big financial, societal reset, where debt was forgiven, where property, because back then, short of gold and silver, property was really big, bigger than it is today in a relative sense. Today we consider lots of other things, frivolous things, as objects to be exchanged. But back then life was a lot simpler. So it was gold and silver, it was property, it was land. It may have been goats, or birds, or chickens, or whatever it was. Anyway, the end of war, the end of debt. Debt will be erased. The end of the fiat financial banking system. We're moving into a quantum age where, and we've said it before on this channel, where you're a child or a fractal of the great creative force of the universe. I would choose to just make it easy on me, my simple brain, and call the great creative force of the universe God, G-O-D. It's one of those only 3-letter words that I love. Well, I love dogs too. Mm-hmm. What else? Along with that, gold and silver will reign supreme. Gold and silver will reign. Sorry,
but
I just can't stand that cell phone sometimes.
Doesn't that go full circle, John? I mean, it used to be gold and silver, and now it's going to come back to gold and silver.
Well, that's the whole point. That's really, really, you're listening. Good, right? Well, Reformation, reparation, the Jubilee, the erasure of debt. Land is being returned to the original owners. We're going back from this bullshit financial fiat paper currency system that allowed the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the,
who else is
who's the J.P. Morgan? Those people, all the people that had a hand in Jekyll Island. If you don't know what Jekyll Island is, people, look it up. Look it up. Jekyll Island was an elitist resort where all of these international bankers coalesced back, I think, in 1910, and they had this meeting, a secret meeting, and they hatched the plan to come out with a new bank called the Federal Reserve, and they named it as such to fool the American people. Now, 15 years ago, when I was first learning this stuff, I was just amazed and aghast at what the hell I was learning. And I'm like, could this be true? All these years later, and from then until now, when I've discussed it with friends and relatives, they thought I was daft. They called me conspiracy theorist. Oh, I bet you he's got a whole closet full of, tinfoil hats, you calling me the Tin Man and all that stuff. That was nasty. That was nasty. But you know what? I don't want the last laugh on those people. And some very intelligent, smart people at work, physicians and whatnot, thought I was just a hoot. Guess what, people? I'm all in on it. I am all in on the fact that there was an evil faction. There still is an evil faction on this planet. Let's call it Molech. Let's call it Lucifer. Let's call it Satan, which is another reason why no human being should have such hatred in their heart like the left has for Donald Trump. They have a spiritual, fanatical, deep, dark, murderous hatred for one person. The left didn't hate Richard Nixon like they hate Donald Trump. The right didn't hate Bill and Hillary Clinton like the left hate Donald Trump. So please put it in your comments. Where does the hatred come from? I'll tell you where. It comes from a deep, dark, ugly, spiritual place. It comes from hell. That would be true for any human being that has such hatred for another person. I'm gonna single out that disgusting, feckless, red-headed POS, Kathy blah blah. Oh, I'll say it. Kathy Griffin, the wannabe comedian, who I guess back around 2016 thought it was funny to hold up, a facsimile of a severed head, that she cut off the head of this disgusting, horrible person. Who does that? Who finds that appealing? Who finds that satisfying? Who finds that electrifying? Not even me regarding Hillary Clinton.
No.
And wait for the Durham report to come out. You're going to see just how bad it was, because it's worse than you could ever dream. Ever dream. So who is Kathy Griffin? She's nothing but one of the evil little poisonous tree toads that is a minion of Molech. Molech is the underworld god that helps run this dark, evil construct on this planet.
Well, John, I think part of the hatred with Donald Trump was nobody can control him. They can't, he will not bow down. He will not, whatever he believes in, he's pushing that agenda out there. You're not, just because you call him names, just because you yell at him, just because you threaten to investigate his business and all his children every month of every day for the next 10 years, he will not stop. And because you can't control somebody, I mean, that's where they're elevating, I think, their potency of their attack, because they need to intimidate, scare him and all his followers. That's my opinion.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Because there's fear in their eyes when they attack him.
Yeah. Well, there's hatred and fear,
Yeah.
And we've said it before. What's the opposite of love? People automatically knee-jerk. It's hate. It's not. It's fear.
Fear.
Fear is the opposite of love, and fear is the absence of love. But everything ugly and dark and bad branches off from that central core hub of darkness called fear. Hatred is just a byproduct of the core that is fear. And right now, for the purposes of politics, it happens to be the left that fears Donald Trump. So what is it that they fear? That he's a guy that's a billionaire that likes women? That I guess the left would say, screw you, he doesn't like women, he hates women. No, I think if you believe that Donald Trump hates women, you have a botfly larva or several of them eating Swiss cheese holes through your brain. There's nothing about women that Donald Trump doesn't love.
John, when you walk into a room and there's people in that room that you just, for whatever reason, you don't see eye to eye with or you don't like, okay? and you listen to those people. You walk in and they're attacking somebody else. Now, wouldn't you wonder, well, you know what they're about. They're dark, they're evil, and they're attacking this person over here. Like, why would that be? Like, it just opens up,
Yeah.
it opens up your brain and think, well, these people, because there's so many politicians that I don't trust. And then,
How about all of them?
and that's why I gravitated towards Donald Trump, because he wasn't a politician.
Well, that's right.
That's why
But the left doesn't give a shit about your reason.
I know that. But that's when I try to talk common sense to common sense people. I mean, that's where my support for Trump comes in, because he's not what's going on in Washington. What's going on in Washington is a disaster. And that's why initially I was all into Obama. Hope and change. This new guy, this young guy, this minority. Hey,
Yeah.
maybe he really is
Yeah.
onto something.
Right.
Major disappointment.
Major disappointment, and you know something, and for his own people that were discerning, I can't even count the number of people that feel the same way. Unfortunately, that's to me, it's like that idiot Scaramucci. He's got
another Two-Face.
What a ridiculous. I can't.
You don't think he's in it for himself, do you, John?
I don't even have words for anybody that gets up at a podium and a microphone and uses the language that he used. If he F-bombed somebody, I'd be aghast, because he's a public figure. He's coming out of the White House. But then to make reference to sexual acts and stuff in public on television, that was mind-blowing to me. That was mind-blowing.
Yeah,
anyway,
very little class.
So back to NESARA GESARA. I want you all to look this up, and I think that you all need to give a hard look at cryptocurrency, specifically XRP and XLM. I didn't say go out and buy it. I'm not a financial advisor or an analyst. I'm not. I'm just saying to you, as part of this podcast, on a greater notion, and specifically with regard to this great reset of humanity, I pray that it's truly the biggest, best Jubilee in the history of modern humanity. And I say modern humanity because, making reference to the previous attempts at humanity, like Lemuria and Atlantis, that's not modern times. Modern times is stuff that can be written now, that can be read about now, that kind of stuff. So look up NESARA GESARA, NESARA or GESARA. I'm going to repeat it. It's the National Economic Security and Reformation Act. And G stands for global. Apparently, we have been bamboozled by the dark forces of the cabal. Yes, they exist, people, they exist. We have been bamboozled for ages and ages and ages and ages. They've bled us slowly to death. And apparently, all of that's coming back to us. All of it's coming back, because there's a faction on this planet. As sure as there is the dark, there is the light. So, can we swing into an alchemy now?
Let's do it, John. It's time.
Yeah, right.
Let it go.
I never really knew how this episode was going to go, dealing with NESARA GESARA, but I would, number one, I implore you, please look up NESARA GESARA. And if you do a Google search or a Bing search or a Safari search, and Wikipedia says it's a conspiracy theory, blah, 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 okay, then you've just put yourself right back into the hands of the dark cabal that's perpetrated this mess. Look up the Kabbalah Guru. Look him up. Look him up. Watch his videos. Okay? Subscribe to his channel. I have no interest in any of that. There's no connection. I'm just telling you that the knowledge the guy has is really good. It's really great, and everything that I feel is basically what was coming out of his mouth. So he and I are resonating souls, and he is an Orthodox Jewish guy. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk? Why not? Why not? He's a fractal of the creator, just like I am. I don't wear a yarmulke. We do both have beards. We do.
Interesting.
So anyway, look up the Kabbalah Guru. Look up cryptocurrency. Look up Coinbase. Look up XRP and XLM. Let me just add a little more spice to the stew. The fiat dollar system, I've been preaching to friends and family for 15 years that the American dollar, not only will it no longer be the world currency reserve, if you don't know what that is, look up the world currency reserve. That just means if one country wants to buy oil or goods and services from another that has nothing to do with the United States, they have to convert their own national currencies to US dollars to make that deal swing. Who the hell are we to tell people what to do? But apparently now, according to Ray Dalio, the CEO and chairman of Bridgewater Investing Fund, I think he manages $23 billion fund.
That's a number.
Yeah, he's got a great series of the Changing World Order on YouTube. Look up Ray Dalio, D-A-L-I-O, on the Changing World Orders. It has everything to do with the New World Order. But he's talking economically, how it's pointed toward China. The New World Order is talking about a tyrannical society or global system that's going to treat people like what's going on in Shanghai right now, where they're locked into their concrete cubicle high rises because those people don't want we the people to spread out onto the land. They want to kill a lot of us and put us into concrete cubicles. So those are the things to look up. When you look up cryptocurrencies, look up NESARA, and look up how the fiat currencies are going to die off. Fiat currencies are paper money. Paper money's bullshit. Can you imagine what some guy in a robe and sandals 2,000 years ago would have said to you if you said, hey, pal, let me have a couple of shekels of silver and I'll give you this paper instead. I don't know if people punched each other out back then.
Probably.
Yeah, maybe he would have taken his sandal off and hit you on top of the head with his shoe.
Good
Maybe
chance.
that's yeah, right. Or they would have stoned you. But think about that. Paper money. We've been hoodwinked. We've been bamboozled. We've been robbed, deaf, dumb, and blind. It's all going to change, people. It's a Jubilee year. Also, with the Jubilee change, out goes the Queen. Out goes the Queen termite. Wait for it. I think she's already gone. But out goes the Queen. Look up XRP. XRP is a digital currency via the company Ripple. And XLM is a cryptocurrency coin known as Stellar Lumens, and that means starlight. XRP apparently is going to be used by the banking system to send monies worldwide, which means they're going to be looking to buy the XRP back off of the people who hold it. You could buy XRP on Uphold. And XLM you could buy off of Coinbase and other platforms right now. And XLM is going to be used as a currency, exchangeable currency, where you can buy and sell for the people themselves. And XRP right now is, I think, trading at like around 41 cents a coin, and XLM is around 15 cents today. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you that you'd better wake up. You'd better start thinking about your IRAs and your 401ks and all of that jazz, because if they're in the major banking systems, you better watch out.
Better not cry.
You better not cry. It's going down, and I'm telling you why. Jubilee is coming to town.
Well said.
Right, so, dear Lord, creator of the universe, if enough of us get it right and we throw our positive energy, bring about NESARA, JASARA, oh God, bring about the greatest Jubilee of all time. Bring about massive change in humanity. Bring about the end of wars. Bring about the destruction and the vaporization of the dark cabal forces led by, I won't even say the factions, we already did. God help humanity. God help your people. God bestow upon Mother Earth righteousness, love, peace, happiness. Amen.
Amen. Great job, John, as usual. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the Jersey Alchemist. If you like what we're doing, press like and subscribe and tell your friends. Till next time, peace.